everyone, it's Maki here. This time, I don't have any new information to share, but let's enjoy some casual conversation. The Gundam series plans to continue releasing new works in the future. The latest entry in the Gundam Build series, Gundam Build Medals, is set to be released this October, and in January 2024, the movie Gundam Seek Freedom will come out. While there's no new information on Mobile Suit Gundam Hathaway, it has been announced that it will be a trilogy, so follow-up movies are in production. Recently, it was also announced that a project called Requiem for Vengeance is under development. Did I forget something? That's right, it's Gundam Unicorn2. While this title is currently provisional, the production itself has been officially announced. For this installment, let's delve into past interviews with Heito Fukui to search for hints about upcoming storylines. In May 2019, an interview concerning Gundam narrative was conducted on the internet page of the magazine Dengeki Hobby magazine. In it, there was some discussion about the continuation of the story. The reporter asks, after the Universal Century passes year 100, the term nudity generally falls out of common usage. Will this element be resolved in some way? Mr. Fukui answers, with the return of self-governance by the Republic of Zeon, the name Zeon itself will also cease to be used. The return of self-governance is slated to be executed around Universal Century 100. Prior to this event, Monahan Bahao of the Republic of Zeon aims to take control in some form. The likelihood of him utilizing the cycle frame to achieve his goals is high. Minber is likely to try to prevent the use of cycle frames. Conflicts arising from such power dynamics may be depicted. Monahan Bahao is the Minister of Foreign Affairs for the Republic of Zeon. In the novel version, he holds the title of Defense Minister. His father is Daja Bahao, the last Prime Minister of Zeon. When it was still a principality, Monahan appears in Gundam narrative, having a tense yet superficially intellectual conversation with Minber. He is also a character who provided covert support to the armed organization calling themselves Neo-Zeon regarding the commotion caused by Zoltan Akkane and the second Neo-Zeon. He says it's no loss if they're good, suggesting he likely has other plans in place. In the novel version of Gundam Unicorn, he financially backs the remnants of Neo-Zeon, for Frontal is also one of the resources arranged by Bahao. He says I can have as many beings as Frontal as I need. While he operates in the shadows like a puppet master, he hasn't made any conspicuous moves. There may be viewers who hardly remember Bahao. However, upon analysis like this, he is more than qualified to serve as the final enemy in the Unicorn series, and Mr. Fukui also speaks to that possibility. Mr. Fukui continues his answer. Just as the term Zeon has faded away, the concept of nudity has also been distorted in both ideology, and its very existence cases have arisen, where they are merely recognized as individuals with superior aptitude as pilots. The reason for this shift is unclear, but we've reached a state where we can't grasp the essence anymore. Maintaining such a situation would require significant authoritarian control to manipulate or hand down these ideas, which is impossible for the waning influence of the Earth Federation government, headquartered on Earth. If there is no organization capable of authoritarian thought control, what situation would lead to the disappearance of the recognition of nudities? Something terrifying might have happened that made people not want to speak or even hear the term anymore. I suspect something may have occurred within the decade following Gundam narrative. Most likely, it would be around the time of Zeon's return of self-governance. Why did the entity known as Zeon vanish from people's consciousness? Indeed, in the stories of Gundam Fodder 91 and Victory Gundam, the term Zeon is not mentioned. Of course, director Mr. Tomino might have had the creative desire to make a new work and chose not to use terms from past works. However, it's also interesting to think about in-universe reasons for this. The Zeon forces took more than 5 billion lives, over half of the total population, in the war known as the One-Year War. It is undeniably the largest and most tragic loss in human history. I imagine you've all learned the names of past states or figures in history books. It's not uncommon for these names to come up in serious discussions about international affairs. Yet in the world of the universal century, the term Zeon is no longer used. What kind of situation would cause such a state of affairs? What's especially difficult is that no alternative term for Zeon has arisen. Of course, new settings may emerge in the process of making Unicorn2. It seems that events making people averse to the term Zeon, potentially caused by Monahan Baharo and his associates, will be a critical element in Gundam Unicorn2. Mr. Fukui also spoke about the phenomena triggered by the cycle frame. If Banite had fully merged with the Unicorn Gundam, the story of the universal century would have ended right there. He would have had the power to render all the weapons within the Earth sphere useless, and could even go back in time to eliminate conflicts altogether. However, if that were to happen, the world would fall into chaos. It might even become impossible to maintain the concepts of a three-dimensional world and time. This event was prevented by appeals from Banai's father and Rick D. Mars. However, if a crisis were to occur that makes people abhor existence itself, it would likely only be achieved through a situation like the one Mr. Fukui described. He also touched a little on the Unicorn Gundam and its second unit, Banshee. It was revealed in narrative that the first unit, the Unicorn Gundam, hasn't been dismantled. An agreement was made between the Beast Foundation and the Earth Federation government to seal and dismantle the Unicorn Gundam. However, naturally, the Banshee likely hasn't been dismantled either. This is probably something even individuals in high positions within the Earth Federation don't know. What will happen to the Unicorn Gundam and Banshee going forward will also be an important element. In the story of narrative, the third unit, the Phoenix, also made an appearance, fused with the consciousness of Rita Barno and Michelle Leo. The Phoenix saved the world in the final moments of Gundam narrative. Banai and the Unicorn Gundam, Rick D and the Banshee, Rita and Michelle and the Phoenix. I believe it's unlikely that any of these individuals and their three Gundams will turn into villains. What kind of event would these three Gundams have to deal with? That is something I'm very curious about. Finally, Mr. Fukui leaves us with some vague words about the events that will likely be depicted in Unicorn2. The term nudie originates from the ideology laid out by Zeon Daikon, and it was an important concept for space colonists aiming for independence. But does it mean that nobody utters this word anymore? What kind of circumstances could lead to such a term becoming naturally taboo? Without the need for information control, events that cause people to instinctively shut these ideas down, what could possibly happen? While the overall tone is ambiguous, I felt that there were some specific details included. Monahan Baha's behind-the-scenes maneuvers to seize control, a major incident that makes people averse to the terms nudity, and Zeon. What do you think Gundam Unicorn 2 will be like as a story? Let's look forward to it while we wait.